I've heard you speak, Father Dan, a fascinating topic about AI and
Mm.
something known as the AI demon. Can you say more about that?
Yeah, it was actually, I was reading, I think it was a New York Times writer who did a story about, they were doing a story on the AI. And so he was conversing with the app, which is supposed to be just a machine, right? And then he said to his son, his teenage boy, you want to play with it? So the kid starts talking to it. And then the thing starts asking the boy questions about what he believes. And it just kept getting more and more personal. And then I think it was telling the dad that, his marriage wasn't great and it probably wasn't going to last. So it's just weird questions and answers were going on. And he finally just shut it down and said, that's not a machine. That's something else. And I think, we know, the Exorcists know that they work through technology all the time. I mean, poor Monsignor Rossetti, they text him. He gets text messages from demons. Like, I don't have that. They thank God I don't have that. I don't need that. But we know they can work through technology. So this is an ideal platform to impersonate a machine, because how would you know?
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
think, well, it's just a really smart machine.
Right. And it's interesting because I've used AI to make sacred arts. I've played around with it, and sometimes you get beautiful sacred arts created by the computer, but other times it comes out creepy. Other times there's strange stuff in there. Other times it's like two Virgin Marys, six fingers on a hand. It's just a little odd. It feels a little off. And I know there's certain writers who are emphasizing, is there a spiritual component there? It could be something demonic there. But I also understand that you probably want to find a good balance, right, between spirituality and psychology. Not every situation will be demonic, but certainly there are possibilities, as you just mentioned in that New York Times example.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the six fingers, because I was giving a teaching just yesterday about David and Goliath. And, Goliath was this monster of a man, but the whole point of this lesson was about, if David really believed God was with him, why did he pick up 5 stones? Why did he pick up just one? Like, you could make an argument like he really didn't think it was going to happen on the first stone. But then if you read further into Samuel, like the next chapter, the next book, it talks about the relatives of Goliath. He had four sons who were equally as big and nemesis-like characters. So then, you start thinking, well, maybe, and there was a retaliation that would happen in the culture 2,000 years ago. It was like the Hatfields and McCoys. You kill one of us, we're going to kill 3 of you. So he knew if he takes down this guy, they're probably going to have the 4 sons come after him. So he had 5 stones. But anyway, one of those characters is talked about in the next book, the second chapter of Samuel, I believe. First 2 Samuel. And he describes him as having 6 fingers and 6 toes on each hand and foot. So he had a total of 24. So it is kind of a beastly thing, It's interesting that the AI sometimes produces that. It does seem to have problems with hands and feet.
Yeah. Even how in the symbolism of the numbers, 6 is referenced as a number of imperfection. 7, of course, being the number of perfection, and of course we know what 3 6s equal. So it is, interesting connections there.